In today's video, we're going to be talking about 15 things you might not know about the main characters of Grand Theft Auto 5. That's right, so this is the first GTA game that hosted multiple protagonists, Michael, Trevor, and Franklin. And today we're going to be talking about some facts you probably don't know about them. So anyways, let's get it started. At the number 1 spot today, Franklin wasn't always going to be playable. So at this point in time, it is hard to imagine GTA 5 without any of its 3 main characters, let alone Franklin. Well, apparently Rockstar had decided on multiple characters rather early on in development, but only in terms of Michael and Trevor. Now, this makes sense as the heart of the story ultimately revolves around the intricacies of their past and friendship, but only having 2 main characters would have made portraying their relationship a lot more difficult, especially since Michael was already acting as the traditional GTA protagonist. Thus, Franklin was born to serve as the mediator and sort of acts as a buffer between the player's perception of both Michael and Trevor. He's basically the guy in the middle who doesn't really take a side and is just sort of along for the ride. But it is pretty interesting to note that Franklin might have been the last character that Rockstar decided on. At the number 2 spot today, Michael is slow. So it's very subtle, but Michael actually walks a little bit slower than both Franklin and Trevor. Now, given that Michael is not nearly as physically active as he used to be by the time GTA 5's main story begins, it makes a great deal of sense that he wouldn't be able to keep up with the 2 main actors. Now, from a design standpoint, it's actually rather well thought out too. Michael is slower, but not to the point of frustrating players for the sake of some added realism. And as we've touched on in other videos, Michael's voice actor and motion capture artist, Ned Luke, actually put on 25 pounds to accurately replicate Michael's out-of-shape stature. That is some serious commitment. At the number 3 spot today, Michael and Trevor are the only GTA protagonists who can die in their game. So depending on how the last mission plays out, either Michael or Trevor can actually die and be locked out of the post-game. However, more importantly, the other 2 playable characters will acknowledge the death and even potentially have their relationships damaged as a result. Now, they're certainly not the first protagonist to die. We've seen Johnny Klebitz die in GTA 5, but they are the first protagonists to die in the game in which they starred in, which is pretty crazy and was one of the more shocking things that ended up happening at the end of Grand Theft Auto 5. So in GTA 5, you kill a lot of people. Well, it should come as no surprise that Trevor has the highest body count in Grand Theft Auto 5, topping off at a potential 32 story kills and having the most mandatory kills out of the 3 characters. Michael follows Trevor's lead with 24 kills in the story, but Franklin doesn't act on his trigger nearly as much, as he only tops out at 18 kills, with only 6 or 7 of them being mandatory, depending on the ending chosen. So I guess that does make sense. Franklin was sort of the most passive and passionate of the bunch, but that is pretty cool, and it's crazy that Rockstar obviously made Trevor have the most, Michael the second, and then Franklin with the lowest amount. That's kind of cool. Number 5 today, the 3 main characters have different sleep schedules. So Michael actually sleeps the shortest of the trio, waking up only after 6 hours, and often it will scream or wave a gun around. Maybe this has something to do with nightmares or even PTSD. Franklin sleeps a respectable 8 hours, and quite peacefully at that, given how disconnected he is from Michael and Trevor's life of crime. And then Trevor, on the other hand, sleeps for 12 hours and will occasionally wake up far from his actual bed. And this makes sense given the craziness that is Trevor Phillips. Number 6 today, Michael was the first main character Rockstar came up with for GTA 5. So truth be told, Michael is the most traditional of GTA 5's main characters. He's troubled but sympathetic, psychotic but relatable, and deadly while serious and humorous. Now, if GTA 5 had just featured Michael, it's more than likely the game still would have been pretty good and felt right at home in the series. Now, Rockstar allegedly decided that Grand Theft Auto 5 should have multiple playable characters, but they did still develop Michael first and foremost. And that does explain why his arc feels the most prominent and fleshed out, despite sharing the bulk of the actual story with Trevor. It also probably makes sense why during one of the original trailers, he was the voiceover person and was also the only real character shown. There was a good chance that, again, he was going to be the only character for the game. The number 7 spot, Trevor can convince pedestrians to attack him. So if you press right on the D-pad while either playing as Michael or Franklin, they will actually greet pedestrians in a friendly way. But if you do so as Trevor, they will yield slightly more aggressive results, where he will taunt pedestrians instead of a friendly hello. And what makes this even better is the pedestrians will attack him. You can do this to gang members, police officers, homeless people. No one is safe from the fury that is Trevor Phillips, and basically you can get anyone to attack you pretty much on command. The number 8 spot today, Franklin cares about animals. So it comes as no surprise that the one main character to have a pet and actively interact with them is the one who acts and shows remorse when killing an animal. Michael will respond sarcastically when accidentally killing or running over an animal, while Trevor will react with his typical dark humor. But Franklin will generally offer an apology and give a statement of regret. That also explains why one of the Strangers and Freak missions revolving Franklin has him following a dog that he can apparently talk to. Again, another one of the cool aspects of the three main characters, and another thing that makes Franklin that much more special. The number 9 spot today, Michael's special ability references Max Payne and Red Dead Redemption. So Michael's ability essentially allows you to slow down time while shooting. And this is basically the same thing as John Marston's Deadeye ability or Max Payne's Bullet Time ability, where they're able to slow down time, they're able to put more precise shots on target, and more importantly, the players they're shooting at are also slowed down or sort of frozen as well. Now, this really shouldn't come as a shock. There's lots of things Rockstar has used from previous games, and it seems to fit really well that Red Dead Redemption and Max Payne would have their ability for Michael with Deadeye and Bullet Time. Now, building off of that, at the number 10 spot, Franklin's ability is lifted right out of Midnight Club. So another Rockstar title, Midnight Club, which is a driving game, allows the player to slow down time. And that's exactly what Franklin can do while driving. The zone effect is what it calls, is slowing down driving speed for other players in the world, while Franklin maintains relatively normal speed. Gives him an easeless advantage to weave through traffic and get an advantage in high-speed chases. At the number 11 spot, Trevor is the only GTA protagonist to kill the main character of another game. So we talked about how Trevor and Michael were the only main characters to die in their game. Well, Trevor is the only main character to kill another main character, and that is Johnny Klebitz, who I think has one of the worst deaths in the GTA series. I mean, Johnny Klebitz was so iconic in The Lost and the Damned. He was such a leadership figure. And the way he dies in GTA 5, getting curb stomped by Trevor, is just such a terrible way to go down. I wonder if in the future, like in GTA 6, we'll see something like that happen again. Like, will Franklin be in GTA 6 and will he die or something like that? Who knows? I think it'll be an interesting saga to see unfold. But just know that Johnny's death was definitely one of the worst. The number 12 spot today, Trevor can remove his default Rip Michael tattoo. So this is kind of a short one, but I didn't even know you could do this. Trevor can have his freaking RIP Michael tattoo removed that is like so iconic on his left shoulder. Again, I had no idea you could actually do this. I thought this was a permanent feature of Trevor, but I kind of like it on there. And it's kind of cool that he did that when his friend apparently passed away. The number 13 spot today, Franklin almost didn't survive the third ending. So Rockstar was actually supposed to have an option to make Franklin die at the end of the game. If Franklin died at the end of the game, he was actually going to be replaced by Lamar, who was voiced by Slink Johnson. Now, the reason this didn't happen is because Lamar's voice actor, Slink Johnson, actually went to jail during the later parts of the game's development, so they couldn't actually do the voice and the acting for him to be a free mode character. So that's why Franklin is alive at the end of the game, because Rockstar ended up having issues with Lamar's voice actor. It would have been cool to play as Lamar, who I think is one of the best characters in the GTA series, but it is cool to see that Franklin is the only one that can live. Speaking of Franklin, at the number 14 spot today, Franklin is religious, apparently. So throughout the game, Franklin actually recognizes a biblical passage Michael mentions in passing on early in the game. Franklin can also get a tattoo of a quote from the book of Corinthians, which says, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." So that's kind of cool. I didn't know that about Franklin, but apparently he is a very pious man. And at the number 15 spot today, Michael is basically Tony Soprano. Now, this is no shock. Rockstar have been doing this in the GTA series. Like if you played Vice City, that game is pretty much just Scarface, the video game. So Rockstar has been not lifting, but they've been using pop culture references to build their characters. And Michael is basically Tony Soprano. I mean, everything from his therapy that he goes to, they're both huge movie buffs, they suffer violent mood swings, have shaky relationships with their wives and children, are portrayed as hypocrites, and they even share a similar pattern of speech. So I would watch The Sopranos and then go back and play GTA 5, and you'll figure out how many similarities there are. But anyways, that right there is 15 things you might not have known about the main characters in Grand Theft Auto 5, Michael, Trevor, and Franklin. Let me know in the comments down below, did you learn one new thing about these three main characters? If you did, let me know in the comments down below. If you did go on to enjoy this video though, a like rating would of course be awesome. And also subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new or you like daily GTA 5 videos like this. With all the way guys, like I said, thanks so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.